Mom, when you are hosting your friends in your beautiful home and your sweet dog suddenly drags their bottom across your expensive rug, do you instantly freeze in absolute humiliating shame, terrified that everyone thinks you are a filthy, neglectful mother? I am Claire, and I want to welcome you with open arms to Frenchiology, our incredibly safe, cozy, and completely judgment-free little sanctuary. I know exactly how your heart completely stops and how a heavy, suffocating wave of embarrassment washes over your entire body when your dog scoots on the rug in front of company. I want you to picture a scenario that is probably painfully familiar. A moment that makes you want to completely disappear into the floorboards. You are proudly hosting your monthly neighborhood book club. The red wine is flowing perfectly, the ladies are laughing, and you are feeling so incredibly proud of your beautifully clean, warm home. Suddenly, out of nowhere, your sweet, graying senior French bulldog awkwardly waddles right into the very center of the room. He drops his heavy rear end down onto your prized, hand-woven Persian rug, lifts his front legs, and frantically drags his bottom across the expensive fabric in a long, agonizingly slow line. Instantly, the joyous laughter in the room completely dies, replaced by a thick, suffocating, dead silence that rings in your ears. You see your neighbor aggressively wrinkle her nose, pulling her feet back, and you hear her whisper cruelly to the woman next to her, "Oh my goodness, he must be crawling with worms. How absolutely disgusting." In that split second, your face burns with a fiery hot shame. Your heart drops into your stomach, and you feel like the absolute worst, most neglectful mother on the entire planet. You furiously yell at your poor, confused dog, forcefully drag him by the collar out into the freezing rain, and aggressively scrub the carpet with toxic chemicals while hot tears sting your eyes. Please, my beautiful, dedicated mom, I need you to put down that bottle of heavy carpet cleaner, look right into my eyes, and take a massive, cleansing breath. I am here to tell you with absolute scientific certainty that you must never, ever let those thoughtless, wrinkled noses dictate your worth as a mother. You are absolutely not a dirty homeowner. Your house is beautiful, and your sweet aging dog is absolutely not trying to humiliate you on purpose. Let me completely and totally shatter the cruelest, most ignorant myth about this behavior right now. Dragging their bottom on the rug is almost never a joke. And in senior dogs, it is almost never about worms. To their wild, ancient biology, that abrasive Persian rug is not a bathroom toilet. It is a desperate, makeshift medical tool. That scooting motion is a completely silent, agonizing scream for help from a body that is suffering from intense physical pain, burning irritation, and deep stiffness that they simply do not have human hands to soothe. Today, while the cold gray rain washes the world outside, I am going to gently unravel the 4 tear-jerking, profoundly biological reasons why your senior dog uses your rug to survive their discomfort. And most importantly, I am going to hand you the exact, compassionate, silent antidotes, progressive healing actions you can take today to free them from this silent agony, transforming your embarrassment into the ultimate power of a true healer. Number 1. The invisible ticking time bomb of the survival scent pouches. I need you to travel back thousands of years with me, back to the harsh, snow-covered forests where their wild wolf ancestors roamed. In the wild, a wolf's diet consisted of rough skin, coarse fur, and hard, shattered bone fragments. Because their stool was incredibly dense and rock hard, every single time they went to the bathroom, that intense physical pressure would naturally squeeze and empty 2 tiny hidden sacs located just inside their bottom. Those are their anal glands, their primitive survival scent pouches used to leave a territorial chemical signature for other wild animals to read. But Mom, look at the reality of our sweet, pampered, modern dogs. We lovingly feed them highly processed, expensive, perfectly round kibble and soft, mushy, luxurious pâtés. Because their modern diet produces a much softer stool, there is absolutely zero natural physical pressure to squeeze those tiny scent pouches empty. So those little pockets quietly fill up with toxic fluid. They become massively swollen, fiercely inflamed, and eventually they feel like 2 agonizingly painful balloons that are threatening to burst inside their body. They are not dragging their bottom to ruin your party. They are frantically dragging their body across the rough carpet because they are desperately trying to use the friction of your floor to manually squeeze and drain that ticking time bomb of pain. I constantly hear stories that absolutely break my heart. Picture a dark, rainy Tuesday evening. Your husband comes home from a brutally long day at work, hangs up his wet coat, and instantly scrunches up his face in disgust. A horrific, pungent odor that smells exactly like old metal pennies mixed with rotting dead fish has completely saturated your beautiful living room. He angrily points his finger at you and yells, "What kind of cheap garbage food did you feed him today? This house smells like a dumpster!" You end up on your hands and knees at midnight, scrubbing the floor and crying tears of pure, unadulterated frustration, feeling entirely unappreciated and blamed. Or think about that dread-inducing trip to the fancy, expensive local grooming salon. You hand over your sweet Frenchie, hoping for a nice bath. 2 hours later, the groomer coldly hands him back to you, silently taps a newly added $20 charge on the receipt for gland expression, and shoots you a withering, judgmental glare. Their eyes silently scream at you. How could you let your dog suffer like this? You are neglecting his basic medical needs. So here is your progressive healing antidote, Mom. I proudly call this the Natural Fiber Boost. Tomorrow morning, I do not want you to buy expensive, chemical-filled veterinary powders or weird supplements. I want you to walk down the simple baking aisle of your local grocery store and buy a cheap can of 100% pure, unseasoned, crushed pumpkin. Do not buy the pumpkin pie filling loaded with toxic spices. Buy the pure, boring orange puree. Every single evening, I want you to take 1 small spoonful of this magical orange paste and lovingly mix it directly into their dinner bowl. This spectacular natural fiber creates a powerful biological glue inside their intestines, firming up their stool to the exact primitive density of their wolf ancestors. When they go to the bathroom the next day, that firm mass will naturally, painlessly press against those swollen pouches, gently squeezing all that toxic, foul-smelling fluid out into the yard where it belongs. You are returning absolute comfort to their body, permanently restoring the clean, fresh smell of your beautiful living room, and completely firing that judgmental groomer. Number 2, the agonizing, smoldering fire of environmental allergies. We need to look at the tragic disconnect between a dog's ancient design and our modern human obsession with perfection. Their wild ancestors spent their entire lives running freely over beds of dry, crumbling autumn leaves and sleeping on the cool, soft, incredibly natural loam of the virgin forest floor. But the incredibly delicate, paper-thin skin on the bottom of your dog's paws and the bare skin around their sensitive rear end is now forced to navigate a human world completely saturated in brutal, toxic chemicals. Those invisible lawn pesticides, the harsh floor cleaners, and the toxic sidewalk salts aggressively cling to their fur, burying themselves deep inside those cute, wrinkly skin folds where your human eyes cannot see the damage. It sparks a violent, raging allergic reaction, causing an agonizing, burning itch that literally makes them feel like they are on fire. When they violently drag their bottom across your rug, it is exactly like you running into the woods and frantically scraping your back against a rough tree bark, desperately trying to scratch a swollen, toxic mosquito bite that your arms simply cannot reach. I want you to picture the immense pride you take in your gorgeous, manicured suburban home. It is late April. The Homeowners Association has just hired a landscaping company to aggressively spray thousands of gallons of bright green chemical weed killer and heavy artificial fertilizer across every single inch of your pristine front lawn. You innocently let your sweet dog out to go to the bathroom. He joyfully prances through the wet, treated grass, totally unaware that he is soaking his delicate underbelly in a bath of pure, burning toxins. The absolute second he walks back through the front door, the chemical fire ignites. He immediately drops his hindquarters and aggressively scoots a massive, frantic, 10-foot line straight down your beautiful, polished, hardwood hallway. Or think about the absolute freezing misery of navigating our icy city sidewalks in the dead of January. The city snowplows have brutally dumped tons of sharp, jagged, incredibly toxic blue de-icing salt all over your walking path to prevent humans from slipping. Your brave little dog marches through it, but those jagged chemical crystals aggressively wedge themselves deep between their toes, melting and searing right into their raw, frozen skin. By the time you return to the warmth of your living room, they are desperately, obsessively biting at their own paws and wildly dragging their inflamed bottom on the rug just to scrape the burning acid away. Mom, I want you to become their protective shield tonight with a beautiful, simple habit I call the soothing, cleansing ritual. The second you bring them back inside from any lawn or any sidewalk, do not let them walk a single step further into your house. I want you to keep a dedicated pack of completely unscented, alcohol-free, ultra-sensitive baby wipes right there in a beautiful basket by the front door. Or better yet, prepare a luxuriously warm, damp flannel cloth before you leave. Kneel down on the floor, look them softly in the eyes, and gently, thoroughly wipe down every single crease of their four paws, and then completely wipe down their delicate underbelly and their tail area. You are effectively rushing in with a fire extinguisher, completely rinsing that smoldering chemical fire away before the allergic itch even has a fraction of a second to detonate in their nervous system. Number 3, the heartbreaking tragedy of rigidity and the silent prison of canine arthritis. In the harsh, wild reality of nature, a wild dog keeping its own body meticulously clean is not about vanity. It is a critical, life or death biological instinct designed to prevent lethal bacterial infections. But Mom, I need you to look at the tragic anatomical reality of the sweet, aging French bulldog sitting in your living room right now. Their adorable, thick, barrel-like chest, their incredibly short neck, and their spine that is slowly, painfully degenerating and fusing together from age. Their wild, ancient heart still desperately screams with the instinct to groom and keep themselves clean. But their failing arthritic body has entirely betrayed them. When they suddenly drop to the floor and forcefully drag themselves across that rough carpet, they are not being gross. That abrasive rug is literally the only surrogate tongue they can find to reach the places their actual tongue can no longer biologically reach. Think of those quiet, dark nights when you are trying to sleep. You hear a pathetic, soft whimpering coming from the dog bed in the corner of your bedroom. You flick on the bedside lamp, and you see your dog helplessly writhing and twisting their thick body on the mattress, panting heavily, trying in vain to reach their back end. They finally let out an exhausted, defeated sigh, slowly drag themselves off the plush bed, and loudly scoot their bottom across your bedroom carpet, looking up at you with eyes full of sheer humiliation. Or imagine the stinging, invisible pain of family judgment during the busy holidays. Your perfectly dressed, highly critical daughter-in-law is sitting on your sofa sipping tea. She watches your old dog struggle, scrunches her nose, and casually remarks, "Mom, why doesn't he just lick himself clean like a normal, healthy dog? He always looks so messy and gross." That careless, ignorant sentence cuts through your heart like a serrated hunting knife because you are forced to watch the baby you love so much slowly lose their dignity to old age. Mom, I want you to reclaim their dignity tonight with a beautiful, deeply loving practice I call the Dignity Spa Routine. The absolute first, non-negotiable rule is this: do not ever, under any circumstances, let them see you wrinkle your face in disgust when they drag their bottom. They feel your judgment, and it shatters their fragile spirit. Instead, tomorrow, I want you to go buy a bottle of high-quality, waterless, soothing oatmeal pet foam and an incredibly soft, warm microfiber towel. The very second you see them struggling, sighing, or attempting to drag themselves on the rug, you calmly walk over with a loving smile. You pump a dollop of that soothing foam onto the warm towel, gently lift their tail, and you meticulously, softly clean them yourself. Through this profoundly intimate, silent action, you are telegraphing a message straight to their ancient soul. Do not be ashamed, my sweet baby. When your legs fail you, my hands will proudly do the work for you. Finally, number 4, the painful, invisible trap of matted fur and the fear of grooming neglect. Let's return to the harsh reality of the wild. Wild dogs and wolves naturally shed their coats by aggressively running through thick, abrasive thorn bushes and dense underbrush. But our pampered house dogs do not have access to these natural, thorny combs. Especially in their senior years, when their digestive system becomes loose and unpredictable, microscopic bits of feces and sticky dirt inevitably cling to the fine, delicate hairs directly around their most sensitive area. Left unnoticed, this invisible debris dries into rock-hard, cement-like knots known as mats that pull completely tight against their incredibly thin skin. Every single time your dog takes a step, that hardened knot brutally yanks their delicate skin backward. It is the exact, agonizing sensation of someone tightly grabbing a handful of your own hair and constantly, relentlessly jerking your head backward all day long. They are not scooting on the rug to make a mess. They are throwing their body onto the floor in a blind, terrified panic, desperately trying to use the friction of the carpet to violently rip that agonizing knot of fur right off their own body. I hear the most tragic, tear-filled confessions from mothers who try to fix this themselves. You put your reading glasses on, grab a pair of kitchen scissors, and you try to gently snip away the dirty mats at home because you want to save them from the stress of the groomer. But because your eyes are a bit blurry and the skin is pulled up invisibly inside the knot, you accidentally snip their delicate skin. Your dog screams a high-pitched wail of pure terror, scrambles away from you bleeding, and hides completely, entirely under the bed for the rest of the night. Or imagine the crushing, intense shame of finally breaking down and taking them to the veterinary clinic. You place them on the cold stainless steel examination table, and the young clinical veterinarian lifts your dog's tail to inspect the area. You see the massive, filthy, hardened clumps of fur. Your face flushes dark red, and you desperately want to sink into the floor, absolutely terrified that the doctor thinks you are a lazy, abusive owner who neglects their child. Mom, I want you to banish that fear tonight and form a powerful alliance with a technique I call the sanitary trim partnership. I am giving you the absolute, strict permission to never, ever try to cut those painful mats off with household scissors again. Your eyesight is changing. Their skin is impossibly thin, and it is a recipe for a terrifying emergency room visit. Instead, tomorrow morning, I want you to bravely pick up the phone, call a highly rated professional groomer or your trusted veterinarian, and schedule a dedicated sanitary trim. You simply ask them to use professional, guarded electric clippers to shave the hair around their rear end down to the bare skin, completely removing the possibility of feces ever getting trapped again. By putting them on a strict 6-week schedule for this professional shave, you are practicing the highest, most elite form of preventative medical care. You are permanently, beautifully freeing their fragile skin from the agonizing torture of those invisible knots, ensuring they never have to frantically drag their body across your rug in pain ever again. Mom, please, take off your reading glasses for a moment, set your tea down on the wooden table, and look right deep into my eyes. That beautiful, expensive, intricately woven Persian rug sitting in the middle of your living room? Tomorrow morning, you can simply pick up the phone, hire a professional carpet cleaning service, and they will wash it until it looks brand new again. But the excruciating pain, the burning allergies, and the silent, agonizing helplessness of a small, aging creature who literally cannot speak human words to tell you where it hurts. Absolutely no professional service in the world can ever wash that silent suffering away for you. When they choose to drag their painful bottom across the floor right directly in front of you, even when company is watching, it is not a humiliating insult, and it is certainly not them being a bad dog. It is the most desperate, profound act of biological trust. In the blurry, terrifying, deteriorating world of old age and silent disease, they look around the room and they know that you are the singular, ultimate savior they have left to cry out to. I fiercely beg you, Mom, do not ever listen to those thoughtless, cruel judgments from people who call your dog dirty or who wrinkle their nose at the realities of senior care. The absolute fact that you tolerate those foul smells, that you get on your hands and knees to scrub the floors, and that you patiently wipe their paws every single day without a single ounce of resentment. That is not you being a filthy housekeeper. That is the most magnificent, sacred, elite level of medical nursing a true mother could ever provide, fiercely protecting the absolute dignity of her aging, fragile child. Tonight, when you feed them their dinner, I want you to happily stir in that spoonful of magical orange pumpkin. And if they need you to gently wipe their little paws afterward, I want you to do it with the biggest, warmest smile on your face. I would absolutely love to hear your stories down in the comments, Mom. Tell me, does your sweet senior dog have another bizarre, quirky little habit they only do when they are feeling physically uncomfortable or anxious? Do they obsessively lick the air or pace around the coffee table in circles? Please share it with us below. At Frenchiology, we are a family, and nobody here will ever judge you or your beautiful, aging baby. Please subscribe to our channel, Mom. Together, we are going to act as their ultimate shields, fiercely protecting these tiny, sometimes messy, but incredibly beautiful souls with every single ounce of love we possess. Warmly, Claire.